Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 4 around Portimao, and this is one I am quite looking forward to seeing how this is going to go this evening. My name is Jake. I was taking you guys through this as always. Unfortunately, Mr. RJW isn't here this evening, and no one decided they wanted to join me so I'm here on my own, covering for Division 3. But again, it's not all doom and gloom. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down, especially if there is a slight weather implication, aka if there's a spot of rain on the horizon in the Portugal region. But yeah, I said we're here for round number 4 for this evening. If you did miss it last week, there was a bit of a surprise winner, I gotta say, from last week. Mr. Lars Nogwat, after an exceptional strategy, being able to nurse hard tires to the oblivion, managed to take the win last week. And then it was Brent who ended up finishing in second. I think pretty much on pace, he's probably the quickest in this division, as well as Farrell probably being the second quickest in the division and ended up finishing in third as well. So the championship standings as it stands at the moment, Brent moved into the championship lead up ahead of White in second. 7 points difference between the two of them, and they are both here tonight as well. So it's good to see that they are both going to be racing to try and fight for some more points in this championship. Farrell is in third with 33 points. Mr. Vasa in fourth with 28 points. And he is also here tonight as well, as being a reserve. Lars Nogwa, after taking that win last week, is in fifth with 25 points. And we've got 4 people on 18 points. We've got Jordan, Cam K, MCR, and Crack all on 18 points, strangely enough. So they're sitting from 6th through to 9th. Oh, no, sorry, it's 5 people on 18 points because Cooley Kicker's also on 18. So that's 5 people on 18 points, 6th through to 10th. All on 18. Conor O'Keefe in 11th with 15 points, who's not here this evening. Matt Tibos in 12th with 12 points. Jay Hings in 13th with 10 points. Julie Show in 14th with 8 points. Same with Rex with 15th with 8 points. Ryan B1994 has got 6 points. Ryan B1291 is on 5 points. Harry F is 3 points. Old School with 2 points in 19th, and then Ecos Master final point scorer. 1 point to his name, and we have finally got our full-time driver of Sweet Ross now joining us back on the grid. Our only full-time driver sitting on 0 points. And it's Timon's debut as well this evening, as well as Sweet Ross's for this season. So, kind of intrigued on how they're going to be able to go down for this week. But a lot of people are out on their outlaps at the moment, and I think there's going to be a Red Bull. That's going to be our first one across the line to start a lap. If I'm not mistaken, that would be Harry F. So, let's run on board of Harry F and see what he can do as he makes his way down in towards turn number 1. It's a very tight and tricky, say it's not tight, it's actually a very tricky corner to get right, but manages to get it done very, very nicely. Now through turns turn number 3, down into second gear he goes, and now the uphill bit of turn number 4 can be quite easy to slide out there, but Harry F keeps it nice and planted onto the tarmac. 22-0 for the first sector. Now breaking out the 100 meter board, probably break just after it, but Harry obviously wants the better turn in towards turn number 5. Now coming through the double right-hander of turn 7 and turn 8. Very difficult, especially turn number 8. It's very easy to sort of get it spun around at that point and lose the traction completely, but again, Harry keeps it nice and planted on the tarmac. Now coming up towards the end of the second sector, it's a 52.1 at the end of the second sector, and I can see there's an Alpine behind. I believe that might actually be our championship leader, who is currently on our lap. Both of the Alpines actually are on our lap as well, so we'll keep an eye out on those. But Harry F just making his way around what I would probably say is the actual final corner, because the final corner here is completely flat out, and I'd say it's more of just a kink rather than a actual corner. But as he makes his way up towards the line with DRS now going to be wide open for Harry, it is a 117.4 to get us kicked off. It's in fact Cam K that's going to be our next one across the line, as he does a 117.6, so just 2 tenths shy of that. And AlphaTauri of Jay Hings is 17.1, and Brent, as he comes across the line on the mediums, is 17.589, so besting out his teammate on a set of the medium compound of tyres, as Matt Tibos goes up on top with a 17.0 for the McLarens, and that would be White Shire, the other McLaren, also putting in a decent lap time of a 17.6. Unfortunately not quick enough, or not quicker than Cam K, but Still not necessarily a bad banker lap whatsoever. Ryan B, the Red Bull Ryan, shall I say, not doing a proper representative lap. He's probably actually gearing up to do his lap now. So the other Ryan B, though, in the Mercedes, 17.571 for him, as Old School coming across the line, 18.2 for him. Timon, who is absolutely boasting about how he's going to do very well around on this track, is sitting in P5 at the moment with a 17.433. MCR, though, coming across the line, his neighboured country, I suppose, puts it into P3, 17.245. And a lot of times now just coming on the board as Cooley Kicker, the first one into the 16s, 16.845 in that Haas. A very nice lap from him. Lars, though, coming across the line, in fact, actually to start his lap, so we'll keep an eye out on what Lars is going to do. As we'll go on board with, I'm just trying to see who's going to be our next one across the line. It might actually be, I think it is actually going to be Jordan. So we'll stick on board with the Scotsman, 52.2 in the first, in the second sector. So roughly around where Harry F's time was, maybe even where it might even be close to where Harry F and Timon are. Might just be just pipping them if he has a decent final sector, which it looks like the Scotsman is, as he's just making his way around the final corner now. And we'll see what time he is able to do in that Mercedes. His teammate is sitting in P7. They're usually quite close together in terms of qualifying. So here we go, up towards the line it goes. 17.444, and it is just behind Harry F and Timon as Farrell comes across the line into P2, a second person into the 16s. And the Irishman now trying to make a bit more of a statement ahead of the championship leader, who's sitting down in 10th at the moment. Granted, he did that time on a set of the medium compounder tyres, so sitting in P10 with mediums, I think that kind of just shows that Brent is extremely quick. As we've got Lars making his way up towards the line now. He has in fact run out of batteries, so we'll see what he's able to do. In fact, does he actually make his way into the pits? No, he doesn't. He stays out on track. 17.450, splitting the two Mercedes, 6 thousandths of a second behind Jordan. We'll just wait for Crack to finish his lap, and then that would pretty much be the first set of laps completed. And yeah, Cooley Kicker so far is the one out on top, but is Crack going to be able to crack up into the top two? I don't think this time is going to look to be it. I think it might even be behind Old School. It's not. It's actually ahead of him and just ahead of Matt's as well. Matt's putting it into P16, Crack into P15. So yeah, I say first set of laps all completed, and a 1.5 second buffer between the whole field, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's obviously, as I say, it's the first run for everybody, and yeah, I think there's still definitely a lot of time for quite a lot of the people and they probably agree that they can have to put into the lap. But Mr. Valter going to be gearing us up to start on a lap, so right on board with the Dutchman. He's getting, as I say, in P4 in the stands at the moment, 28 points. Up towards turn 1, just before the 50-meter board, turns it in very, very nicely, making sure you don't want to be taking too much of that inside curve, especially through turn 1 and turn 2. Down into second gear he goes, as a little bit of a wobble on the exit, and as I say, up at turn 4, very easy to drop it there, but he keeps it nice and planted onto the tarmac. 22.1 in the first sector. Now goes just after the 100-meter board, a little bit of rear locking for the Dutchman as well, and actually had a very nice exit coming out of there. Did not wheel spin, so very nicely done from Mr. Valter. Now coming through the elusive double right-hander. Again, it's very easy to lose it coming around this point here. And again, a tiny little wobble from him, but keeps it nice and planted onto the grey stuff. Now, coming towards the end of the second sector. And what is his split time going to be? It is a 52.0 for Mr. Valter. So this is going to put him around where Jordan, Hyman, Harry... In fact, actually, it's going to put him up ahead of him. I think the 52.2 was their split time. So yeah, it's going to put him around where MCR is if he can finish this lap as well as he had started this lap. So as he makes his way up towards the line and around the final corner, the Dutchman, he can see there's a car just out in front of him. It's not going to face him though. But up towards the line he comes, and it is a 17.1 for Mr. Valter, up ahead of MCR and up into P5. So very good lap time from him. Matt Tibos just starting out on a lap at the moment as well. But just to take a nice quick breather, Cooley Kicker and Farrell, the only two still yet to put themselves into the 16s for the time being. So a bit interesting to say the least, as I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan B getting a bit of a just being left through by his teammate. I think he was getting a little bit of a tow from his teammate going down in towards turn number 5. So yeah, like I say, I think Matt Tibos is going to be our next one across the line, so we'll stick on board with him. He said it was purple sector 1. He's 3 tenths up on his time, so this is definitely going purple so far. Purple in sector 2 for the McLaren. Matt Tibos, it's been a bit of a shame for him because we haven't seen what he used to be like, if that makes sense. He used to be extremely quick, so to see him down in Division 3 and not necessarily succeeding, sorry Matt, if you're listening to the stream, but not necessarily succeeding, was quite a sad sight to see. But up towards the line he goes, and onto pole position he goes, a 16.736, looking to try and get a bit of that form back on top. Ryan B in the Mercedes goes up into P4 with a 16.977, so we're now going to start to see a few more guys creep into the 16s, and Jay Hing's going to be another one of those. He's about nearly half a second up on his time, so the AlphaTauri might just dethrone Matt Tibos as he's just making his way around the final corner now to see what Jay Hings can put down as his second lap time on the board, and it's a 16.651. He does dethrone Matt Tibos. Very good lap time from Jay Hings, and up onto pole position now goes the AlphaTauri. As I say, a very, very good time indeed. Speaking of time, Timeman is just starting his lap as well on the set of the soft compound tyre. We still have not seen an improvement lap from Brent as of yet, and in fact he's actually just starting his lap time now as well, as that was someone that just came across the line. That's Sui Ross up to P6 in the Ferrari, again making his debut for this season in Division 3 and putting it up into 6th is not necessarily a bad position to start off with, as somebody else also just made an improvement of a time. I believe that was MCR and Harry F, both of those guys making an improvement as well. MCR though just about beating him out by 0.02 of seconds. So yeah, very well done to him as Jordan improves on his time as well, 17.188. Now the field is getting very, very tight, as I think that would be Lars just starting his second lap. Alfa Romeo coming across the line now. That was Ariel Farrell, and he doesn't manage to dethrone Jay Hings. He jumps Matt Tibos, but doesn't get onto pole. The Irishman up into second position. Brent 0.6 up of a second up on his time, and we've got 3 more corners left to go for the Dutchman to see what he can do. He's 0.6 up on those medium tyres. He's going to look to try and put it on pole ahead of Jay Hings, ahead of Farrell, and ahead of Matt Tibos. We'll see if he's able to do it though. There is a stricken Alfa Romeo of, I believe, Old School just in front of him, who's going to peel his way into the pits. But Brent up towards the line he comes. Is it going to be put for pole position? No, it is not. It's a P5 for Brent, only 0.004 of a second faster than Cooley Kicker, which is a very big surprise. Hyman up to P3, a 16.697 for him. So again, he doesn't manage to get pole position either. There's I think that might be the majority, if not all, of the second lap times done. Crack comes into the pits. He was 400ths up on his time, but not going to look to improve on that one. Ryan B in the Red Bull, I think, is going to be making an improvement on his lap time. He is 2.5 temps up on his time, so this will put him up ahead of Lars. He wants to try and improve a little bit more in his final sector, though. He wants to try and get within that scrap for P12 all the way pretty much to pole position. They're all separated by just over half a second. So if he could try and throw his hat in there with the rest of those guys, if he can maybe make any sort of improvements in this final sector, then I think he's got a good shot of being within that top 12 as he comes up towards the line. It's a 17.055 for Ryan B. Jumps up ahead of his teammate, but separates him and MCR. P9 for Ryan B. P10 for Harry F in the Red Bulls. Very, very equal between the pair of them. And again, that's very nice to see as well. So I think Lars Nogwat ended up improving on his time slightly, but only went to P14, unfortunately, for the Dutchman. So yeah, not really much of an improvement for Lars, but hopefully in this final run he can try and make an improvement. Of course, last week's race winner by I can't lie, by sheer surprise. So yeah, we'll see what he can will be able to do in this race. Julie Show finally coming out of the pits to complete a lap. Just pretty much going to try and get a lap done on his own, which I don't blame him, and especially while it's a quiet track. Everyone is into the pits with 5 minutes left to go of the session. Is Julie Show going to be able to make any sort of impact on the rest of these guys out in front? But Jay Hings at the moment was in Division 4 last season. He's out on pole position, and is going to be one of our first ones to complete a final flying lap, as well as Julie Show. Yeah, I think it's Jay Hings has done very well in qualifying so far. I just don't think he's been able to translate it properly in the races so far. So hopefully we'll be able to see that actually be converted by him for this evening. But Julie Show just coming around the final sector now to finally start his first lap. And we'll see the line that he does end up taking into turn 1, because again, that can be quite interesting. It usually sets you up for the remainder of that lap. So, Julie Show, he's just making his way now towards the line. DRS now wide open to start his first and possibly his only final flying lap. Into turn number 1 just before the 50-meter board, breaks it nice and tidily through turn 2 as well. Don't want to run out too wide because it's very easy to invalidate from there. There's an Alfa Romeo just out in his way who's just getting out of the way, which is nice to see, of I believe Old School. Now through turn 4 and a DRS wide open for the second time this lap. 22.0 for his first sector. Probably could make a bit more of an improvement on that. Now downshifting into third gear and trying to get as early on the power as possible, running out as wide as possible to use the most amount of track that you possibly can. Keeping it in 6th gear through the first right-hander, down into 3rd, coming up this little hill as well. Again, very easy to lose it coming over that turn number 8 as well, but now it manages to keep it nice and planted. Now up towards the end of the second sector, what time is Julie Show going to have on that? It's a 52.0. Again, this will put him around where Jordan and Mr. Valter are, down in P12 and P13 respectively. But again, if he can make any more of any more moves in this final sector, could maybe just jump up even a few more spots towards the likes of Harry F, Ryan B, Sweet Ross, all of that kind of area. So Julie Show just coming around the final corner now in that Aston Martin. We'll see what he's able to do as he comes up towards the line, and it's a 17.0. Like I say, in between Ryan B and Harry F, it's so tightly compact. 8th through to 12th is all separated by 33 thousandths of a second. Jay Hings is going to be our next one across the line. I think in fact, he's slowed down. I'm not sure what's happened, as Ryan B has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I think he was letting a lot of other cars go, and he's now been disqualified. He was in P7. He's now going to be starting at the very back end of the grid. Not good news whatsoever for Ryan B, as Old School now out on a lap 0.08 of a second up on his time. The only one that's still in the 18s, and I will even mark you can make a bit more of an improvement than that time he's put on the board so far. We'll see that. We'll run on board with him and see what he can do, and see if he can try and make any more gains up on the rest of those guys. Mats is also on a lap. I think just started his lap in that AlphaTauri, going through turn 1 now as well. As Old School, 4.5 temps up on his time, so this will best out Mats. Can he maybe get towards the likes of Cam and YHYY? A bit more of an improvement in the final sector, and he certainly will be able to do so, as he's just making his way around the penultimate corner and gets as early on the power as possible. Very nicely taken as well, actually. And coming around the final corner now comes Old School. Got to turn on that DRS SAP as Julie Show. That is him retiring from the session. Up towards the line he goes at 17.604. Jumps up ahead of Cam K by 5 thousandths of a second. May not be too happy about that, but at the same time, not a bad lap from Mark whatsoever. Jay Hings was on a lap and has invalidated on his lap. So, who's going to be our next one across the line? If I'm not mistaken, it might be Cooley Kicker, who's actually gearing up to start a lap. So, it won't be him. It will be the McLaren of YHY, who's also just starting his lap. Farrell just starting his lap, as well as Matt Tibos and Timon also gearing up to start his lap as well. So, I'm just trying to figure out who's going to be our next one across the line. Thought it might have been Brent, but in fact Brent's actually slowed right down, so I don't know if he's had a spin or what, but Brent is not going to look and improve on this lap, so I think he was gearing up to start a final flying lap as Jay Hings into the pits. So that is his qualifying finished. He's now got to hope that nobody else makes any improvements whatsoever to beat him out of that pole position. And Farrell 500ths down on his time. Timon just starting his lap. Matt Tibos is invalidated his time, so he's only going to be able to best P4. Sweet Ross goes up into P5 of 16.773. Brent just manages to get started on his lap. Cooley Kicker 3.5 tenths up on his time, so Jay Hings is really in a spot of bother. Cooley Kicker, we'll see what he's able to do. Coming around the penultimate corner, gets on the power as early as possible and makes his way around the final corner. I think Cooley Kicker might be about to put this on pole position. That's Old School coming into the pits, but up towards the line comes Cooley Kicker, and that is onto pole so far. 16.560. Farrell just coming across the the line himself now as well. No improvement for the Irishman. Matt Tibos, again, as I say, he invalidated on his lap time, so not going to make an improvement for him. Brent, it's up to the Dutchman to see if he can dethrone Corny Kicker as Timon ended up retiring from the session. So he's down in P4. Crack as well, also on a lap just a bit further up ahead, but he's 3.5 tenths up on his time is our championship leader, Purple in Sector 2. He is absolutely flying to see if he can try and best out Corny Kicker going through the penultimate corner now in the Alpine. Is he going to be able to dethrone Corny Kicker and take pole position for this evening? Or is Corny Kicker going to be able to hold on? Let's have a look. Up towards the line comes Brent. It's a 16.622. He doesn't. It's Corny Kicker. So Corny Kicker out on pole position. Brent is in second. And our championship leader probably going to be a little bit disappointed with that. He probably reckons he could have done a bit better with that one. But still, second position, not necessarily a bad place to be starting. So it is an all-Dutch front row of Corny Kicker and Brent in first and second. Jay Hings in third with Farrell in fourth. Timon down in fifth with Matt Tibos in sixth. Sweet Ross in seventh. Cam Kate in eighth. Made a massive improvement, so well done to Cam. MCR in ninth. Ryan B in the Red Bull takes P10. Julie Show in 11th with Harry F in 12th. Crack in 13th. Jordan in 14th. Mr. Valter in 15th. Mats in 16th. Lars in 17th. YYY in 18th. Old School in 19th. And Ryan B in the Mercedes. Probably shouldn't be down there, but ended up getting disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I think purely because he was letting other cars go through, which is sad to see that he's been disqualified because of that. So, yeah, very, very unfortunate for him to say the least. But he should, he probably will be able to make his way through the field. So we'll see how that goes. Chris saying in the chat, my goat Sui will win the race. We'll see. We will see. He's sitting down in, I think it was P7, so see if he can maybe make his way through the field. But anyone that's in the chat, if they want, try and predict who you think will end up taking the win this evening. I probably, if I'm a betting man, I'd have to say Brent would probably be taking the win this evening. But I said that for Japan, and I was completely wrong. So let's have a look and see what tyres everybody has opted to go on. It's looking like it's going to be a dry race, so not going to be any sort of rain coming. From what I've been, well, I haven't been told anything, so I can only assume that there's not going to be any rain. But here are the tyres that everybody has opted to go for. So Corny Kicker, Sweet Ross, Julie Show, Harry F, and Mr. Varta all going on a set of the soft compounder tyre. Everybody else other than YHRY and Ryan B in the Mercedes all going on a set of the mediums. YHRY and Ryan B going on a set of the hard compounder tyres to try and maybe make their way through this race. And I hope that a late safety car can play into their favours. So we should wait and see. But Corny Kicker going on a set of the softs is going to be quite interesting because he's going to want to try and get the best start as possible to get away from Brent, get away from all of those medium runners behind, take the pressure off of himself, whereas Brent is probably going to have an absolute train that he's going to be leading. Sweet Ross as well, he needs to try and maneuver his way through those five in front of him on those medium tyres if he wants to make those softs work. And as you were saying, Chris, you're saying your goat Sweet will win the race. Well, let's see if Sweet does win it. Maybe the softer compound might actually be a bit more beneficial. You never know. But as you saw at the bottom there, it did say it was quite an easy softer medium compound strategy. So yeah, we'll see what's able to be done. Ryan being going very, very sort of slow at the back end of the field as the top three are pretty much already almost at their grid boxes. So yeah, they might want to slow down a little bit so that they don't really cool down their tyres all too much. Otherwise, they're going to have a bit of a slow start. But as I say, get your predictions in the chat. Who you think's going to win? Will Corny Kicker be able to make the softer strategy work, or will someone of the mediums like Brent, like Jay Hings, like Farrell be able to try and move their way through the field? Could one of the hard runners of YHR Ryan B maybe take a win for this evening. Who knows? But we are waiting for these 5 red lights to come on. We've got 3, we've got 4, we've got 5 for round number 4 of Season X of League of Europe. And they are away, and let's have a look and see who has got the best start of the lot of them. I think Corley Kicker has had a very good start and manages to hold on to the leader of this race. Jay Hings trying to go around the outside of Brent in towards turn number 1. He's given the space. Farrell runs out wide. That's Timon now going up ahead of him into P4. Brent getting swarmed by Jay Hings going through turn number 3, but Corley Kicker, very, very good start from him. Bit of a clash at the back of Jordan and Ryan B in the Red Bull. In the Red Bull. Very unfortunate for them as Jay Hings now losing out of position to Timon. So Brent managed to hold on ahead of the AlphaTauri as let's hope it keep it all clean going through turn number 5. Matt Tibos and Cam K both side by side. I think Cam just lets Matt Tibos go on through. Doesn't want to waste any time with any of that as the two Aston Martins, I thought they were side by side with each other, but it turns out that they're not. And it looks like Sweet Ross making a little bit of a mistake coming up towards turn number 8 as Harry F now trying to go around the outside to see if he can maybe get a position done on the Ferrari. I think has to back out of that one for the time being. So the Swedishman manages to hold on ahead of the Red Bull just behind him, but there's looks like I thought it was going to be very close. For some reason the time is slightly glitched on my side, so hopefully they'll be able to reside themselves very soon, as I think that's Sweet Ross now losing out that position to Harry F. So Sweet Ross, unfortunately for him, now dropping down to P9, and MCR maybe looking to see if he can maybe have a bit of a crack on ahead of Sweet Ross as Cooley can come across the line for the first lap completed of 33 around Portimao. And yeah, as I say, Corley Kicker keeping that lead very nicely as Cam K trying to put that pressure onto Matt Tiros. He's sort of letting go on that last lap. And Cam K almost, I thought, was trying to dive it up the inside there, but no. Matt had to stay behind for the time being. Crack and Geordie Show was side by side, but Geordie Show's gone around out of turn number 3. I don't know if there was contact between the pair of them, but Geordie Show now down into last position on those set of soft compound tyre. So it's not going to work out for him as MCR going for the move on Sweet Ross now down through turn number 5. Sweet Ross goes a little bit wide out of the corner. MCR did give him that room on the outside there, and I think MCR is going to be able to complete that position. Up to P9 goes to Spaniard, and now unfortunately for him though, he's out of that 1 second gap as Simon's gone around. He was boasting that he was going to do very well in this race, and unfortunately now down into P11 on those medium compounded tyres, so he's now got it all to do to try and make up some positions from the rest of those guys out in front. But as I say, Corley Kicker still having a very good start, but Brent is all over the back of him on those medium compounded tyre, and I feel like Brent, if he just holds on for a little bit longer, especially with that DRS when it becomes enabled, he can have a bit more of an opportunity. As soon as those tyres, or the soft tyres, go off ever so slightly, then Brent is going to be able to pounce on any sort of mistake that Corley Kicker can make, as Old School getting a move done on Lars now for P15. White Try on the hards has moved his way up into P14 as Matt's actually trying to go for the move on time, and now down towards turn number 1. They're both side by side of each other. Mats has actually got the inside, Timon around the outside. Who's going to be able to complete the move? Is it Mats? Is it Timon? They're both still side by side through turn 1 and turn 2. Mats has got the inside for the both of them. Timon tried to hold it around the outside. Not really a place you want to be holding it around the outside, as in fact they're still side by side of each other. Timon down the inside into turn 4. The two Dutchmen fighting it out, battling for the ages between those two, and now White Try Wise joined himself in, not getting one, but potentially getting 2 moves. In fact, he's gone up ahead of Timon. Timon, though, trying to go for a bit of a switchback on the McLaren, and I think because of the harder compounded tyre, White Try Wise might get done here, but in fact, no, he stays up ahead of the Ferrari. So Timon was running in P3. He's now running out of the points position. So, yeah, and especially with all that battling going on, Mats has now dropped out of the DRS from the rest of those guys. So Mats has now got it all to do to try and catch himself back up into the DRS of the rest of them. Jay Hings as well, losing out DRS to Brent, as well as Farrell pretty much losing out DRS to Jay Hings as well. So yeah, in fact, Jay Hings, he's on the cusp, and same with Farrell, both on the cusp of each other to try and get themselves DRS. Is Jay Hings going to be able to get it? I don't think he did, and I don't think Farrell did either. So yeah, no DRS for any of those guys. Very, very weird, but now it is just the top 2 battling it out for the lead of the race. And in fact, I think we're going to see Brent go for it in towards turn number 1. Don't think Corley Kicker's going to try and fight it too much. Brent now up into the lead of this race. Matt Tibos all over the back of Cam K, as Cam actually managed to get the move done on the McLaren. And now Matt Tibos trying to go down the inside towards turn number 3, both side by side of each other, as Cam's going to have the inside for turn 4 going up the hill, and I think the American might just about hold on to that one, as Matt Tibos didn't get the DRS, so he's going to try and burn his DRS to try and get back up ahead of the American. but Cam with that DRS is going to be able to stay up ahead of Matt Tibos. Tries a bit of a switch by though, try and get a bit of traction out of the corner. I think he has done that, but I don't think where Cam's going to have the inside for the next corner, I don't think Matt's going to be able to get any sort of move done. So that is Cam back up into P5 now. Matt Tibos now down into 6th, and Harry F has joined the fray. He's actually had a very good start, because soon he started on those softs as well, down in P9 or P10. He's now up to P7, trying to challenge Matt Tibos. In fact, trying to go through turn number 11, I think that is, but does not get any sort of move done. The Red Bull just needs to try and play a little bit calmer for the time being. I feel like the only place you can really get a move done is going down on that DRS straight, but Matt Tibos is going to have that DRS to try and go for a move on the American out in front of him. But meanwhile, Jay Hings and Cordy Kicker, Jay Hings and Farrell have managed to catch up into DRS of the rest of those two up in front, so they'll be able to use that advantage. In fact, Jay Hings didn't get DRS, so he was out of it. It means that Farrell is now going to go down the inside of Jay Hings to move himself up into P3. Now he's going to try and go for the challenge on those top two. Matt Tibos thought might be seeing him go for a move on Cam K, but doesn't go for it in the end. Crack gets the move done on Sui Ross, so I think it's going to start being an indicator that these soft tyres are starting to go off ever so slightly. It's Old School and Lars both side by side through turn number 1 and turn number 2, but Old School is the one that comes out on top. He needs to try and catch up to Timon as well, try and get within that DRS and hope a mistake comes from a few of those other guys out in front, as that is Harry F getting a move done on Matt Tibos. And in fact, they're side by side going through turn number 4. Matt Tibos has the inside for the next corner, so I think Matt is going to be able to hold on ahead of Harry F. And yeah, all this battling between those two means that the Cam K is just going to be allowed to run off ahead of these guys, so they need to try and just work together a little bit. I know Harry F is on a set of the softs, so it might be, he's trying to get a bit more aggro to try and get a move done or force a move from Matt Tibos, but they need to try and work together to keep within the DRS of Cam, and then try and utilise that slipstream and DRS to try and catch up to those top 4, as Cordy Kick has now dropped out of 1 second from Brent. So it's now going to invite Farrell and invite Jay Hings to go for a move on the Dutchman in the Haas. So we'll see. Is Farrell, the Irishman, going to be able to go for it? He's using that ERS. He wants to go for this move on Cordy Kicker. Down towards turn number 1. You can see it from his point of view. Down the inside he goes. DRS wide open. Not much that the Dutchman can do. Farrell's now up into P2 and trying to stay within that DRS of Brent out in front. If he can do that, Farrell, don't count him out of taking a win for this evening. But it is Brent still keeping that 1 second gap just behind Farrell, so he's doing a good job of that for the time being. And Jay Hings as well, not been able to move past Cordy Kicker as of yet, but that's not to say that a move may not go down very, very soon, as MCR going down the inside of turn number 4 on Harry F. Gives that room on the outside, and Harry F runs out a little bit wide. Did the exact same as what Sui Ross did. Harry F, though, is going to have to slot in behind the Spaniard, and now up into P7 goes MCR, P8 for Harry F. And you got to think, with these soft tyres, well, the way that they're already dropping off, surely we're going to be start to seeing some pit stops come down very, very soon. As Cordy Kicker going on the defensive of Jay Hings at the exit of the second sector, and we'll see if Jay Hings is going to be able to go for a move on Cordy Kicker, because, I mean, Cordy Kicker already out of DRS from Farrell, and he only got passed on this lap as well, so yeah, those softs really are starting to die off for the Haas driver, and I think Jay Hings is going to have quite an easy pass for him up in front, as DRS is now going to be wide open for Jay Hings in that AlphaTauri. Used a little bit of ZRS to catch up, and yeah, I think that's going to be easy move done. Up to P3 goes Jay Hings. Nicely done. Matt Tibos now trying to challenge Cam K for P5. Not going to be able to do it. Crack gets the move done on Harry F. Harry F trying to hold it down the inside in towards turn number 1. Not really where you want to be holding it down the inside, but he keeps it down the inside into turn 2 as well. That's the inside for turn number 3. Not going to be able to get the move done, and I think Cracker might have just got himself up into that position. Timon being the first person to pick up the 3-second time penalty as well in this session. And now Crack, you can see that red flashing out on the back of his car. Harry F can see that as well. Sweet Ross it down the inside in towards turn number 5. Not going to be able to get the move done. Harry F manages to hold on to that position. Mr. Walter now trying to see if he can go down or try and get a move done on a few of the mistakes that are happening out in front of him, or a few of the moves that are trying to happen out in front. But it is one big DRS train from MCR all the way down to Timon, and surely with those soft tyre runners in the middle of it, they've got to try and do some moves sooner rather than later, otherwise their tyres are just not going to work. And Sweet Ross goes very deep out of the exit of the second sector. I think maybe had a bit of rear lock-in and meant that he ended up losing out a multitude of positions. There's now Timon going down the inside, and there you go, once again rear locks it going through there. Timon didn't manage to get the move done on his not his teammate technically, but I suppose it is his teammate, a temporary teammate. There we go, that's what I was looking for. The Sweet Ross has another wobble out of there. Matt Tibos and Cam K are both side by side of each other. Cam is the one with the, no, sorry, Matt Tibos is the one with the DRS, but Matt Tibos has got the inside as well. I think Matt is going to be able to hold it down the inside. Not much that Cam can do. And now up to P5 goes Matt Tibos. Crack and MCR both side by side of each other. MCR gets a little bit forced out on turn number 1, but Crack keeping it around, down the inside of turn 3. MCR has the inside for that turn 4, and now DRS is going to be wide open for the IRTE driver. Is he going to be able to go for that move as Cam K? You can also see trying to go for the move on Matt Tibos into turn 4. They're going 2 by 2 Noah's Ark on that. Matt Tibos manages to hold on to that ahead of Cam K, and MCR I think is going to have to yield that position to Crack. So MCR now down to P8. Crack goes up ahead of him, goes very deep though going through that corner. I don't know if MCR gave him a little tap through that, but Crack now up to 7th position, 2.5 seconds separating him and Cam K, and they need to do some serious, Crack needs to get some serious pace on to try and catch up to both Matt Tibos and Cam K for P5. But I've got to say, Coolie Kicker, he's done very well on those soft compounder tyre to stay onto the back of Jay Hings. Despite them, they look like they were sort of dying off on lap number 5, but now on lap 8, he's, they're keeping him at bay in all fairness, and at least he's going to be able to use the DRS to catch back up slightly to the AlphaTauri. Maybe on the next DRS straight, we might even see the Hash driver go for a move. But Cam K now going to go for another position change for P5. Down the inside, he goes on Matt Tibos. Matt Tibos, though, tried to almost turn in on Cam K. I'm not sure what happened with that, but loses out a significant amount of time. Don't know if he picked up any damage from that, as Crack now getting a 3-second time penalty. MCR got the move back done on Crack as well. So yeah, Crack now with a 3-second time penalty, and that whole train that was led by MCR has now been split. Mats is now dropped out of the DRS from Harry F, so Mats has now got to try and catch up to those guys, and especially while they're battling, it would definitely be the best bet for him to try and catch up with that, as Ryan B on the hards now getting swamped by everyone around here. A little bit of a slide as well coming out of the exit of turn 5 as Julie Show now starting to catch back up to the back of this little group led by none other than Mr. Old School 3000 himself, as goes a bit deep through turn number 9 as well, as in fact almost going into the side of Jordan on traction. Jordan, the Scotsman, manages to get the move done on Old School, and so does Ryan B, and the other Ryan B going to also try and go for a move on Old School. I think, oh no, he does, he goes straight down the inside. Didn't look like that much of a competition though, which is very surprising to see. But yeah, the two Ryan Bs now next to each other on track with Jordan in the Mercedes also there as well. But we're almost a third of the way through this race. Brent is the one that is still leading this race by 1.5 seconds up ahead of Farrell. Jay Hings is in third with 1.8 seconds behind Farrell as well. White Trial and Mr. Wouter, in fact, change of position between the two of them down towards turn number 1. Those hard tyres are now going to start to come into play up ahead of the softs, up ahead of the mediums. So White Trial Y now going to start to try and make some moves on the rest of the grid. Matt has managed to get himself just about back in the DRS of Harry F, and Harry F I think is going to try and go for a move on Crack in towards turn number 5. I thought the Red Bull was going to go for it, but no, he does just a better thing and hangs back for the time being. Surely these soft runners are going to have to start making their pit stops very soon, as Sweet Ross and Lars both side by side now. Sweet Ross has to yield that position, and Lars is now up to P14, and I think Ryan B getting the move done on Jordan as well for P16. So all the moves are going down now after these tyres are now starting to die off, as Geordie Show being the next one to pick up a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, with how these tyres are now starting to go off, it's now creating a lot more moves to go down, especially with those guys that are on the hards. They're going to be able to now utilise their hard tyres to go for any sort of moves that they can on the dying softs and on the dying medium tyres. So I'm looking more at White Shy Y, especially in P11, because if you're new to League of Europe, it's top 12 end up getting points. So with White Shy Y being an 11th at the moment on the hards, he will still be getting himself 2 championship points, as Matt Tibble's going down the inside in towards turn number 1. Gets the move done. Old School has gone off completely out of the penultimate corner, and I think maybe tried to overcorrect himself and has gone down into plumb last. The Sweet Ross picking up a 3-second time penalty now down in P15. Cam is going to have the DRS on Matt Tibbos going down in towards turn number 5. Sorry, the American's going to hold it down the inside. Matt Tibbos is going to try and go for a bit of a switchback on Cam. A little bit of a wobble for the American. Matt Tibbos is now going to try and get the better traction out of the corner. I think he has got the better traction, but he's on the outside of the corner, and Cam does just let him go with that. So Matt now back up into P5, but all this battling going on between the pair of them is just slowing them down. They're not going to be able to catch up to the likes of Coolie Kicker and Jay Hings. Jay Hings, 2.5 seconds now behind Farrell, so he's dropped off massively. And Coolie Kicker, again, on those softs, he's done very well to keep with Jay Hings for the entirety of this stint, considering that these softs are probably going to be on about, what, 40, nearly 50% now. So, yeah, he's doing a very good job of keeping up with him. And MCR as well, keeping everybody else behind him at bay. We always call him Mr. Consistent, the consistent Spaniard, and he is doing exactly that. P7 for the time being, as I thought I saw someone coming into the pits, but no, nobody is making their way into the pits. Instead, it's going to be Cam. Once again, go for the move on Matt Tibos, clears him this time, and now the American up into P5. And again, these two just keep on changing positions. In fact, Sweet Ross into the pits on those softs. So he's going to be our first proper pit stopper. As I know Julie Show did come into the pits and chuck on hards, but Sweet Ross into the pits to chuck on mediums to go to the end. 20 more laps on those medium tyres is a bit interesting. I'm not going to lie, but I'll see if he can make it work towards the end. Only time will tell. Timon getting the move done on Mr. Wouter through turn number 5. And remember, Timon has got that 3-second time penalty. Mr. Wouter going to have the inside going through turn number 7. Timon's trying to hold it around the outside and has just half spun him round. I don't know if that was... I couldn't really see it properly, but Mr. Wouter now dropping out another position from Lars as well. I don't know if Timon left in the appropriate space. I don't know if Mr. Wouter was had understeered into the side of Timon. Again, only time will tell. I'm sure we'll see maybe a steward report come out for that after the race. But for now, Timon now up into the points position. Although with that 3-second time penalty, he will lose out to Lars and will lose out to Mr. Wouter. So, yeah. Even though he's got that move done on both Wouter and Lars, he's going to be dropping out of the points. Unless he can make up some sort of moves. As Coolie Kicker on those softs. Now the first one in the top block to make his way into the pits. Matt Tibos thought we were going to see a move go down for the Brit in the McLaren, but no, he holds back for the time being behind Cam. So he's now trying to play the proper game of just, you know, making sure that they don't try and fight it so that they can try and do the best they can to catch up to Jay Hings. But Coolie Kicker, as I say, into the pits on a set of mediums. Where is he going to come out in relation to Sweet Ross? I think he's going to come out significantly ahead, and in fact significantly ahead of Old School as well, as Ryan B and the Mercedes now picking up a 3-second time penalty, and MCR now getting overtaken by Crack as well. Did not manage to catch that one, but yeah, Crack now up into P6, MCR dropping down to P7. Well, in fact, keeping P7 because of Coolie Kick coming into the pits, but Crack now up to 6th position. That's Chris in the chat saying, never mind, Sweet isn't winning anything. Very good support for your friend there. As let's see, are any of the other soft runners like Harry F, Mr. Wouter, are they going to be coming into the pits anytime soon? Because Harry F has now basically become the conductor of this train from 8th down to 12th. Let's have a look and see. Is he coming into the pits, the Red Bull driver? He certainly is. So into the pits comes Harry F. It means that Mats is now going to be the leading driver of this one, and he picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits. White's going to go down the inside of Mats in towards turn number 1. I think the Finn's going to be able to hold that one down, and does indeed. Timon goes very wide out of turn 1, so that will probably be a warning for him as well. But White's now up into P8 on those hard tyres, and you can see just how much better those hards are in comparison to those mediums. It's very, very strange, as Matt Tibos also getting a move done on Cam K for P4. Sweet Ross setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Where is Mr. Wouter? Mr. Wouter also pit as well. Sorry, I just also realised that. Harry F, though, has come out 8 seconds behind Coolie Kicker, and I don't think that gap was that big between Coolie Kicker and Harry F beforehand. So, yeah, that undercut extremely powerful from Coolie Kicker, and now he's got 6 seconds out in front of him to Ryan B on the hard, so he's just gonna he's happy with just, you know, pushing the best that he can, try and get a jump on Jay Hings, maybe, just maybe, even get a jump on Farrell if he was quick enough to do so. But yeah, those medium runners, they're not making a pit stop anytime soon. Never mind. Our race leader has come into the pits, interestingly enough. I wonder what tyres he's going to be going on then. So I don't know why he's come in on lap 15. He's not going on the softs, is he? He's going on the hards. So Brent has opted to go on a set of the hard tyres. I think I think Brett's just thrown away a race win here, because I think you can do medium to soft as Timon going for the move on Matt's in towards turn 1. Matt's not going to have the opportunity to try and fight back for that one. And now up to P7 goes Timon. But yeah, Brent, I think, has completely thrown that one away. I don't think, I mean, the hards will go to the end, but surely he could have held that on a couple extra laps and gone on a set of the soft compound tyre. Interesting. Very, very interesting. As Mr. Valter has come out of the pits, he's actually come out behind Lars. Lars has in fact actually come out ahead of him. So credit to Lars for that one. Ryan B in the Red Bull. Behind Julie Show is Harry F and Old School dueling it out as well. Old School trying to go down the inside maybe. No, in fact he's let Sweet Ross go. Oh yeah, because he's still technically behind them. He hasn't made a pit stop as of yet, so he's kind of let those guys go just in their own little fight. He knows he's not battling with those guys, so that's fair enough. Mr. Valter getting the move done on Lars now for P16, and now up into 16th position, technically 15 because Old School in front of him hasn't pit as of yet. Farrell now into the pits. Jay Hings into the pits. Matt Tibos opting to stay out. So surely these guys don't opt to go on a set of the hard compound tyre. Surely they're going on a set of the softs. It's the hards for Farrell, and I think I can see the hards for Jay Hings as well. So I'm surprised they're going on a set of hards. I thought it would have lasted a little bit, a couple extra laps to go on a set of the softs, but evidently not. They're going on hards. They're trying to go for the overcut on Brent, and Brent has completely cleared them. Farrell now 2 seconds behind Brent. Those guys, I don't know why they've done that, to be honest with you, because Cordy Kicker now go down the inside of Farrell, and I think has got the move done. Although the Dutchman goes a bit too deep through turn 3, Farrell has the better traction coming out of there, and the Irishman now back up into 7th position, and net second position with Brent up ahead of 3 and a bit seconds up ahead. Cordy Kicker though needs to use these mediums right now and try and get past Farrell to then catch up to Brent, because Cordy Kicker I think is the best opportunity of being able to win the race for this evening, as Timon all over the back of Matt's just pushing his third Dutchman around everywhere through this third sector. And I think Timon, I can see he wants to go for this move ASAP. In fact, he's trying to go around the outside in the penultimate corner on Mats, but doesn't go for the move. Just hangs back for the time being. Tries to go for a bit of a switchback on Mats as well, in fact. And I think just slots in behind him. Wants that DRS off of the back of the AlphaTauri, and is going to get that DRS. And I don't think Mats is really going to have anything to do with defending-wise ahead of his fellow Dutchman. DRS now wide open for Timon, and already clears him in towards turn number 1. So Timon now up to P4. Brent setting the fastest lap of the race on those hard tyres. He's gained a second ahead of Farrell in this lap alone, and Cordy Kicker can't find a way past Farrell, which is interesting. I would have thought Cordy Kicker would be past him on this lap, but can't find a way past him. As I think something's happened between Matt Tibos and Cam K, because Cam, he's now nearly 2 seconds behind Matt Tibos, and these two are battling it relentlessly for the first 15 odd laps. And Cam, you can just see little snap of oversteer for the American, so I think he's starting to struggle on his tyres now. I think he is one of the ones though that is trying to hang on for a set of the soft compound tyre and try and challenge those guys on the hards towards the end. As Matt's now all over the back of Timon. Thought we were going to see him go down into turn 11, but no, just hangs back for the time being. As Cordy Kicker, very strange. He seems to be losing out time to Farrell, who's on the hards, whereas he's on the mediums. Granted, they're 3 laps older than Farrell's hards, but I would have thought Cordy Kicker, those mediums would still be quite nice intact, as Matt's now going down the inside of Timon just before turn 1 and gets that move done. So Matt's now back up to 4th position. Top 5 still yet to make a pit stop as well. I know Old School has actually made his pit stop now. So yeah, top 5 yet to make a pit stop as of yet. But yeah, I would have thought Cordy Kicker would be well past Farrell by now, and now trying to catch up to the back of Brent. But if anything, Brent, he's closing up to the back of these two battling in front of him, Timon and Mats, and Timon's go back, got the move back done on Mats, and Mats not going to be able to go for anything on Timon, so has to remain behind the Ferrari for the time being. Mats now up to P5, Timon up to 4th position, but goes a little bit wide through turn number 8, and again, a little bit of a snap of oversteer for him as well. Spun it around there in the early stages, which put him down significantly from the rest of the field, or from the rest of the guys that he was battling with at the start of the race. And now he's He's sitting in fourth at the moment, but yet to make a pit stop. And now Brent all over the back of these two. So I won't be surprised if we see Brent try and go for a move ASAP. And in fact, Mats has gone round. Mats has spun it round. It's given Timon a bit of breathing room now. But Mats going around. Surely we're now going to see the Alpha Tauri make a pit stop. Maybe go on and set of softs. Go to the end. Go for an undercut as YTRY into the pits. Timon has opted to stay out. Brent is going to get the DRS now on the back of the Ferrari. Let's have a look and see what tyre YTRY is going to go on. Is it the mediums? Is it the softs? I think I see red. No, I don't. It's yellow. So he's going on a set of the mediums to go to the end of the race. So YTRY, we'll see where he comes out in relation to the rest of the guys. And in fact, I think he's going to come up behind Mr. Wouter from the looks of things. Is it even going to be behind Lars? Lars is just coming down the start-finish straight. You can see they're both almost side by side of each other. In fact, Lars is going to come out ahead. Is Ryan B going to be able to get past YTRY on the exit of turn 2 and maybe entry of turn 3? No, he does not. Brent, no, manages to get the move done on timing in the end as well. Down in towards turn number 5. Harry F and Crack as well, both side by side of each other going through turn 5. Harry F's got the inside, and Crack's got the outside. And Harry F gets that move done on those medium compound tyre. This is what I was expecting Corny Kicker to be doing on Farrell, but just not been able to, and in fact dropped out of DRS massively from the Irishman. So yeah, Cordy Kicker now 1.5 seconds behind Farrell in that Alfa Romeo. Timon almost dropping out of DRS from Brent as well already, just in the space of not even a lap. Granted, Timon hasn't pit yet, neither have the top two, and as I say that, Cam into the pits. So Cam, surely for the American, this is going to be a set of the soft compounder tyre to go to the end of the race. Surely he does not want to go on the hards. He's on those mediums. It's got to be softs, surely. It certainly is. So, Cam, onto the softs to go to the end. This is one we're going to need to keep an eye out for and see what he can do on these softs. The only problem is that he's going to be stuck at the back of this train and going to be behind behind Mr. Valter as well. He's going to come out ahead of Lars on YTRY, and in fact YTRY go for the move on Lars, as you can see in the background there, in towards turn 1. But Cam is now 2.5 seconds behind Mr. Valter, and you got to think when Matt Timmels is also going to come out in relation to these guys, he's going to come out around P12, P11, as he was about 2 seconds up ahead. So yeah, in fact he will come out maybe even behind Cam, because of Cam going for a bit of an undercut. And I can only apologise if you hear a bit of a sound glitch. That is not internet wise, that is the game for some reason having a bit of a sound glitch still. Not sure why it's not been fixed, but yeah, game's got a little bit of a sound glitch going at the moment. So yeah, Matt Tibos still just leading in the race at the moment. No safety cars, no DNFs either so far, which is nice to see. Not probably so much for old school. So I think he was probably hoping that there'd be some sort of DNFs at the moment, but there hasn't been any so far. Matt Tibos is into the pits, so he's now going for a set of the softs. Timon surely has got to pit this lap as well, as Farrell going around the outside. He certainly is going into the pits. So Timon and Matt Tibos, the final two to yet pit, are now into the pits. Set of softs for Matt Tibos, probably a set of softs for Timon as well. Promotes Brent now up to the lead of the race, 3.5 seconds up ahead of Farrell. And from the looks of things, I think Farrell might be slightly quicker than Brent in the last maybe 1 or 2 laps. So maybe Farrell could try and catch up to Brent. As I say that though, he's lost about 2 tenths on him, so maybe not. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me. As Matt Tibos has come out ahead of Cam. That was huge for Matt Tibos. He needed to make sure that he got that overcut done on that lap and get out ahead of Cam. Because of Cam's soft tyres, he knew that it was just going to be a hard task, but manages to come out ahead of the American in the end. And I don't think the American's going to be able to maybe put an offer on against Matt Tibos as yet. There you go, around the outside he holds it and gets a better traction out of the corner in comparison to the American up in front, now up to P10, and he can now try and chase down the rest of those guys out in front of him and go for any sort of move that he possibly can. Matt Tibos is definitely one we need to keep our eye out for, especially with the amount of penalties out in front of him, the likes of Jay Hings, likes of Harry F, Crack, Sweet Ross, all with penalties as well. So Matt Tibos can make it into the top 5, I reckon. Maybe, no, I was going to say maybe fight for a podium. No, he can make it into top 5. I think with the amount of penalties out of there, he's got an opportunity of a top 5 finish, but he needs to get past Harry F and get within 3 seconds of Jay Hings, and Harry F has a little bit of a moment going through there. Matt Tibos so gets the move done on Mr. Wouter. I don't know if Mr. Wouter had a bit of a moment coming out of the penultimate corner off, and maybe Matt Tibos made contact with him, but he's got past the Dutchman, so that's one position he needed. He's now going to have to try and get past Sweet Ross, Cam Kate as well, looking to see if he can maybe go for a move on Matt Tibos. Matt Tibos goes defensive in towards turn number 1. Cam's just going to try and see if he can slot around the outside. The American not going to be able to go for any sort of move. Matt Tibos though trying to see see if he can get it down the inside of the Swedish out in front of him, but I don't think Sweet-Ross is going to make it easy for the McLaren. Now going to try and go for a bit of a switchback is Matt Tibbles. He's done it all race against the American behind him. Both of them are going to try and go for the move on the Ferrari in towards turn number 5. Matt Tibbles down the inside. Cam trying to hold it and follow Matt Tibbles as well. Sweet goes a bit too deep into it, but Cam has a bit of a wobble. Matt Tibbles now up to 8th position. Got one of the ones that he needed to get past as well, and has put a car between him and Cam Case. So this is very, very good so far for Matt Tibbles. He needs to try and get up and past Harry F. That's the main person. Sorry, now needs to get past Crack, because Crack is the one that is leading this train. He needs to get past those guys to try and get himself a top 4 finish. And I think he can do it. I think he can do it. As what was only a 5-car train has now turned into an 8-car train, with Crack being the leader of this train. Sweet-Ross, though, just about holding on to this train as well. But yeah, very, very close. It is an 8-car train now, and we'll see who's going to be able to get the moves done. Cam gets the move done on Swee. White gets the move done on Mr. Valter. Matt Tibbles trying to go down the inside into turn 1 on MCR, and he does so beautifully. Taps the back of Harry F, I think, as well, for good measure. But just look how much more grip the McLaren's got in comparison to the Red Bull, and you can just see the switchback again on the Red Bull. But I think the straight line speed and no lack of ERS is not going to allow him to go for the move. Although I say that, he dives it down the inside of the Red Bull in towards turn 5, and again the better traction means he's now up to 6th position. Matt Tibbles, yet another one he's managed to get past, and Cam, once again, he's now stuck behind a multitude of cars that's put himself between him and Matt Tibbles. Down the inside though goes Cam K towards turn number 9, gets the move done. The better traction on those softs against the hards means that he gets that move done. Matt Tibbles, trying to go down the inside towards turn number 11, is going to be able to get the move done on the IRT driver. I think he does, and does so beautifully. P5 now for Matt Tibbles, and that was probably what Jay Hings was not hoping for. That Matt Tibbles made, I'm not going to lie, he made light work of that train. So now 4.5 seconds behind Jay Hings. He's only got 1.5 that he needs to make up to be able to jump up ahead of Jay Hings in terms of penalty wise. But knowing Matt, he does not want to just do that way. He wants to catch up to Jay Higgs. He wants to go for that overtake on the AlphaTauri out in front. As a lot of weaving going on down the straight. Cam going to get the move done on Harry F potentially. He's going to hold it down the inside as the Red Bull, but no, backs off of that one. Cam now up to P7. Crack is his next victim up in front, and then it is Matt Tibbles, who he's been battling with all race along. The two Ryan Beans both at it as well into turn 1, but the Mercedes one comes out on top. Here we go though. Cam, see if he's going to be able to go for the move on Crack down towards turn number 5. Think he might be able to get the move done. Indeed he does. The American's going to try and hold it down the inside. The Crack's trying to hold it around the outside though. Not going to get a bit of traction. Softer tyre just makes it so much easier for Cam to get that move done. Now 1.1 seconds behind Matt Tibbles. Both of these guys can get the jump on Jay Hings, but they've got to work together. They can't battle it out. If Cam does manage to catch up to the back of Matt, they both cannot battle it out and try and go for the moves on each other, because otherwise they're just going to lose out the time to Jay Hings. And towards the end of this race, those hards are going to be much better than the soft compounded tyres that they're both on. So they need to, if Cam does catch up to Matt Tibbles, they both need to work together and not battle it out extremely for the both of them to be able to get ahead of Jay Hings, and both of them getting a top 5 result. Still kicking off in the middle of that train. White trying to go for the move on MCR into turn number 1. MCR goes a bit defensive on the Finn out in front. Crack as well, trying to go defensive on Harry F. Crack goes very deep into turn 1 though, because Harry F is going to have the inside for turn 2. Crack again goes off track. I don't think he's expecting Harry F to still be by his side there. MCR trying to hold it around the outside. A bit of contact between them as well. I don't know if MCR left the room, but Crack has gone round. Sweet-Ross now goes around the outside of White. MCR also gets the move done on Harry F, and that's a lot of moves that were going down. Unfortunately for Crack though, he's down in 17th position, and unfortunately it was good battling with everybody, but I don't know if enough room was left from MCR, and Crack unfortunately now going around out of turn number 5. So that's now him down into P17 and out of the points position. Very unfortunate for him, to say the least. But this train now, what was a 5-car train, what was a 6-car train, is now turned down to a 5-car train. Well, it was 8 cars in fact, but Matt Tibbles, Cam have both sort of shot off on the road, and in fact Matt Tibbles is pretty much in DRS of Jay Hings. So Could Matt Tibos be on for a podium finish this evening? He's about 3 seconds behind Cordy Kicker, and all it takes is one penalty from Cordy Kicker for Matt Tibos to be in this. So he don't count Matt Tibos out for a podium this evening. But yeah, as I say, he's all over the back of Jay Hinks now on those soft tyres. And those softs don't look like they're dying out anytime soon, as Zariev still managing to hold on ahead of MCR for the time being. He's going to have the DRS though as he goes up towards turn number 5. As in fact, a Sweden Ross trying to go down the inside of the Aston Martin, and that's a spin out of the back. That is Timon, if I believe, that has had a spin. And Matt Tibos gets the move done on Jay Hinks, but any moves going down behind us. Geordie Show into the pits, our first retiree of the session. Down the inside goes YYY on Sweden Ross again. Sweden Ross, he just can't seem to do well out of turn 5, and I think that's probably the most amount of moves that we've seen go down in turn 5 for one person. Sweet Ross has just lost out nearly every single position he tries to defend out of turn 5. Very unfortunate for Sweden, and Chris probably laughing his head off in the chat. That's now Matt Tibos, 1.5 seconds behind Cordy Kicker. I was not thinking Matt Tibos would be getting himself onto the podium this evening, but after that qualifying, it was very well done from him, and I think he's making this medium to soft strategy work like a charm. Cam is within 3 seconds of Jay Hinks, so he's probably going to be content and just try and nurse these softs to the end of the race. But Matt Tibos has gone one step above that and wants to try and get to the back of Cordy Kicker and try and get on that podium. And he's doing a sublime job of that so far. As I say, 1.3 seconds separates him and the Dutchman in the Haas out in front. And it's dropped in fact by 0.2 of a second, nearly 0.3 of a second. Matt had an amazing exit out of turn 4. So we'll see if he's able to get anything done as Timon getting a double overtaken by Mats and Crack. Now in towards turn number 1. Mats has got down the inside. Crack's going to have to try and go for that, but yeah, in fact, Crack could not get the move done on Mats, and in fact, Mats getting the move done on the pair of them. As in fact, there's been a bit of a spin towards the back. All 3 of them being involved. I'm not sure what happened between the 3 of them, but now, yeah, as I say, they're all a little bit stricken with each other. Old School's now going to move up on the places with the rest of them. I think Crack was waiting for Mats to go past him. I think it must have been something that Crack and Mats caused with each other, but yeah. Mats gets the move, gets that move back done on Crack, and Old School took advantage, struck P17. So I know he's not going to be sad about that. He's going to be quite happy that he's managed to get 2 positions up in the end. As DRS now wide open for Matt Tibos. This is for the final podium position. He's just about dropped out of it, but where the detection zone was, he managed to get back within the DRS, so he's going to be able to catch up to Cordy Kicker ever so slightly. And I really wish the sound glitch would just sort of go away, but unfortunately it doesn't. YHY though, down the inside of Harry F in towards turn 1. Don't know if Harry F's going to be able to hold that one. He's going to go for the switchback though. Bit of contact between the pair of them. They're still both side by side of each other. In towards turn number 3. Harry F's going to hold it down the inside. The Fear, I think, is going to be able to hold on. So you have the inside for turn 4, and does so. Very nicely done from YHY, but Harry F is going to have the DRS now going down in towards turn 5. Is Harry F going to go for the move on YHYY? No, he's not. YHYY gets back up into P7 with no penalty as well. Could he try and catch up to Jay Hinks before the end of this race? He's about 5 seconds behind the AlphaTauri with 5 laps left to go. He's just got to make up 2 seconds. It's easier said than done. He's just got to make up 2 seconds and could end up getting himself into P6 with jumping up ahead of Jay Hinks. But if he's got the pace to do it, that's what he's got to try and do. Matt Tibos, though, he's mounting that charge onto Cordy Kicker. He's now only half a second behind the Haas driver. He now wants to try and go for this move whilst his softs are still quite nicely intact. He needs to do it now or on the next lap at the very latest. DRS now wide open for the McLaren. Again, he's only going to close up to him. He's not going to get him any sort of move done, but he's closing up at least to the back of the Haas. However, turn 5 could be a very different story as Cam is all over the back now of Jay Hinks and Harry F getting that move done once again on YHYY. So they're all still battling out as Ryan B in the Red Bull now getting a move done on Lars. Lars still going to get himself into the points position as Matt Tibos gets that move done on Cordy Kicker for the final podium position. Our pole man now down into 4th position. Cam trying to go for a move on Jay Hinks as well. I think Cordy Kicker must have made some sort of mistake because Matt Tibos was still about half a second behind him that entire time. So must have made some sort of mistake, did the Dutchman, and now Matt Tibos is up to P3, 3 seconds behind Farrell. Dare I say, he could even maybe try and catch up to him. As we've got 5 laps of the, well, just about 4 laps now of the race left to go. And we haven't really touched too much on Brent. We haven't really needed to. He's 5 and a bit seconds, nearly 6 seconds now up ahead of the Irishman of Farrell in P2. But yeah, I said it from the start. I feel like Brent is going to win this race. As long as he doesn't bottle it in these last 4 laps, then I feel like Brent has pretty much won this race. As DRS now wide open for Coolie Kicker, Matt Tibos did get... or trying to weave and get out of that slipstream for the Haas driver, and I think he's done that very nicely. Coolie Kicker not able to go for that move. Cam, though, does get that move done. Back up ahead of Jay Hings now into P5, and yeah, Jay Hings, unfortunately, the strategy just did not work for him. I thought the medium to soft was the better strategy, and it's looking like it is the better one to go for, especially considering that both Cam and Matt Tibos now both into the top 5. Lars picks up a 3-second time penalty, so where he's going to jump up ahead of both of the Ryan Bs, he's now not going to jump up ahead of them, and he's now got to try and do it the hard way and get past them if he wants any points for this evening. If not, Jordan, he's just got to do a little bit of a catch-up job to try and get himself into the points as well. Old School comes into the pits to probably chuck on a set of softs and go for the fastest lap attempt, but yeah, I don't think YHY is going to get the jump on Jay Hings in the end. I think where he's stuck behind Harry F, I think the best he's going to get really at the moment is P7. Unless a very late safety car comes out now, I think, unfortunately for YHY, P7 might be the best he's going to get as Crack takes the fastest lap of the race at an 18.645 in the Williams. And in fact, gets ahead of Old School as well after that pit stop. Crack then picks up another 3-second time penalty. So... But I think those soft tyres are coming to a bit of a close now. Though he's Matt Tibos not catching up to Farrell, but on the podium nonetheless. I think Matt Tibos is going to be very happy that he's gotten himself onto the podium. 3 laps left to go. YHY gets the move done on Harry F now. 4.9 seconds. Again, I think he's been held back behind the Red Bull for too long to try and close up to the AlphaTauri out in front. And especially considering that Jay Hings is still keeping DRS to Cam K out in front. I think Jay Hings has pretty much done enough that he can to stay up ahead of YHY. Although saying that, YHY is caught up by half a second in this lap alone. So, yeah, again, I guess anything can really sort of happen with these guys. And I don't know why it keeps on doing this sound glitch. I wish it would sort of go away. That's time, and yet another 3-second time penalty down in P16. I would just like to say, before this race, he said he wanted to be moved up to Division 2 because he was doing exceptionally well around Portimao. He's down in P16 with 6 seconds worth of penalties and might get jumped by Mats. Not to say that's anything bad towards Mats, but yeah, Timon was boasting about how he would want to be in D2, so... If anyone's going up to D2 at this rate, I think it's going to be Mr. DTR Brent himself. 2 laps left to go of the race. And yeah, Brent is basically throwing his hat in there to say, look, put me up into Division 2. I want more of a challenge because he's 6.5 seconds up ahead of Farrell. Matt Tibos, he's 1.3 behind Farrell, but again, I don't think he's got enough in the tank to get within the DRS of Farrell. Or the tyres haven't got enough life left in them to go for a move on Farrell, unfortunately for him. I do seem to remember though with Brent, I feel like this might have been one of his better tracks around Portimao. So when I used to race it in Division 3 a couple of seasons ago, I do remember me and him were battling it out constantly around this track. So yeah, I think Portimao might be one of Brent's better tracks, which is why he's absolutely dominating in the lead. Matt Tibos has managed to get in the DRS of Farrell though. I didn't think he'd be able to, but he certainly has. And now he's going to need to use all of his ERS if he wants an attempt to go for a move on Farrell for P2. We're now on to the final lap of this race. 33 lap odd race. And I don't think Brent has just been, well, Brent's been completely unfazed with what's gone on in this race entirely. Not been challenged one single bit by anybody. Matt Tibos, though, he's now trying to put the pressure on the Irishman out in front of him. Is the Brit going to be able to go for the move on the Irish? I think the Irish are going to come out on top on this one. And I don't think Matt Tibos has got enough to go for any sort of move on Farrell. Even the lead up towards, or going through the final corner, I don't think unless Farrell makes a mistake, I think Farrell's going to be able to hold on ahead of the McLaren. But yeah, Cam as well manages to hold on ahead of Jay Hings. YHYY though, 4.2 seconds behind Jay Hings. Again, not able to make up anything on Jay Hings. So we now go to this man on your screen here. He's pretty much led from almost the very start. Corner kicker held on to the lead for a couple of laps, but once that DRS got enabled, Brent passed it straight through and did not look back since. He is leading the championship at the moment. He's going to look to extend this championship lead. Around the final corner comes the Dutchman in the Alpine and comes up the hill to take race win around Portimao for round number 4. Congratulations to Brent for taking the win this evening, Farrell for taking second, and Matt Tibos final podium position and finishing in P3. Cooley Kicker will finish in 4th, with Cam in 5th, Jay Hings in 6th. YHYY didn't do enough to get onto the back of him, so finishes in 7th in the end. MCR finishes in 8th. Mr. Walter, after all of that being on the back of the train, finishes in 9th. Sweet Ross does take some points home in the end on his debut for Season X and finishes in P10. REF finishes in 11th, with Ryan B in the Mercedes taking the final points position, and then Ryan B in the Red Bull finishing in P13, Lars in 14th, Jordan, the Scotsman, in 15th. Timon, very disappointing in P16 for the Dutchman, and we'll see what he says in the Discord straight after. Mats will finish in 17th. Old School and Crack battling it out for the final lap and the wooden spoon. Crack is the one at the back of it though, and I think Crack is going to finish at the back. And I think Old School, is he going to be able to take the fastest lap point off of Crack? I don't think he will be able to. I think Crack is going to hold on with that as a 5-second time penalty for Old School, which is unserved. But I think Crack still finished behind him in the end. So, yeah, only one DNF, and that was Julie Show through retiring in the pits. Other than that, everybody had finished, which is very nice to see. But he was unstoppable, and Corner Kicker tried, but it didn't phase him whatsoever. Brent does end up taking the top step on the podium. Farrell gave it his all, but didn't manage, but was just completely dropped by Brent. Had a bit of a charge at the end, or had a bit of pressure put onto him in the end by Matt Tibos on those softs, and he did an exceptional job as well, I've got to say, on the softer compound tyre. Same with him and Cam K. Both of them had done an exceptional job, but Matt Tibos managed to get himself onto that podium. And yeah, they were your top 3 finishers. Cooley Kicker starting on pole, ended up finishing in P4. Cam in P5 from P8 on the grid. Jay Hings in 6th. YHY from 18th jumps up to P7. Was so close to getting Jay Hings. 1.2 seconds. I think all that battling with Harry F just made it meant that he wouldn't be able to get the jump on Jay Hings. MCR does finish in 8th, with Mr. Varta in 9th from 15th on the grid as well. Sween Ross in 10th. Harry F jumping up 1 position from P11. Ryan B on the in the Mercedes was in last. He got disqualified in qualifying and ended up finishing with at least a point, so consolation point, I suppose, for Ryan B. The other Ryan B then finishes in 13th, Lars in 14th, with Jordan in 15th, Timon in 16th, Matt in 17th, Old School in 18th, Crack in 19th, and then, as I say, our only DNFer for this race this evening was Julie Show, finishing, well, not actually even finishing. So yeah, that's going to run that for round number 4 on Portimao. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in for this evening. Make sure you guys are tuning in to Division 2 and Division 4 very, very shortly. Division 2, 8:10 p.m. BST, aka in about 25 minutes. Division 2 covered by Old School and NSX Montana. And Division 4 covered by QVR Verstappen. And I don't know if he's got a special guest. I don't know if it was meant to be Montana. But yeah, we'll see if he does end up having a special guest for this evening. But make sure you guys are tuning in next week as well at 6:30 p.m. BST for Division 1 and Division 3, because we've got a sprint next week. Division 1, of course, being covered by Oxide Nova and QVR Killer, and Division 3 will be myself, and hopefully RJ will be back with me next week, so you don't want to be missing out on that one. But thanks to everybody that has tuned in this evening. I will catch you guys next week for round number 5 around the Barcelona Catalunya circuit.